Greetings everyone and welcome to Soter Academy, lesson number 3. Last week we talked about that the muscles are dumb, they don't understand how heavy you lift, they don't know the plate numbers, they know only one language, that's the time under tension language. In today's lesson we are going to see what is that optimal time under tension and why the negative is between 2 to 4 seconds and not 5 minutes, let's say. There was a study conducted in 2015 that was said that in order to trigger muscle hypertrophy, we should do the repetition between 0.5 seconds up until 8 seconds. Now, why we don't do this repetition with 0.5 seconds is because we are going to do it with higher weight and the movement is going to be explosive movement and risk versus reward. So it's going to be very risky. We are going to get injured possibly at some point, so it is not worth it. So it's better to control the weight and to increase that with a few seconds so that we are controlling the weight. Now, why not do 5 minute negative then? Because let's imagine this. We're doing 5 minute negative, going down, down, down. But then we can do it with lighter weight, because if it's heavier, we won't be able to do it. So let's do it with half a kilo or 1 kilo. But at some point, we are going to get tired. So we're going to get the muscle tired and we're going to quit. So, and the weight is very light. It's very close to zero. So we are not going to do actual work. As there are two variables to look out, is time under tension and the mechanical load. That is how heavy it is. Now the optimal bandwidth, 2 to 4 seconds. But when we add the, let's say, 1 second pause down or 1 second squeeze up or vice versa, that's going to be maybe 5 seconds or 6 seconds we're talking about for the total time of the repetition. Now, so why for some exercises we do 2 seconds negative and for some we do 4 seconds or 3 seconds? So the thing is that it depends on the range of motion and the velocity. So basically the velocity is the same for all the exercises, but it depends from point A to point B what the movement is. So what is that path? Let's say if it's shorter path, but if the velocity is the same, it's going to take us 2 seconds to get there. But if the path is wider, so we need to move further, that means with the same velocity, that means it's going to be 3 seconds or maybe 4 seconds. Example of this is, let's say, a dumbbell bench press. So the hardware travel longer distance. So we assign, let's say, 3 seconds. And it is with the correct velocity, and then it is control movement. Now, but let's say the calf raise is, we assign there 2 seconds because the movement itself is very short. So that's the system behind. So we keep the velocity and we go from point A movement to point B. The bottom pause. So why do we put pause at the bottom or at the top? Now we do this in order to kill that stretch reflex. Now 1 second pause at the absolute bottom of the movement. So the tendons, they act as a rubber bands, so they store energy. So if we go, let's say, at the bottom and we try to push back up, let's say we're doing a dumbbell press, then that stored elastic energy helps us to push that weight back up straight away. But if there is a slight pause, that energy from the tendons dissipates and we are doing the actual work of that push with the muscles. So we trigger the muscles to do the work and we trigger a tear in the muscles. Now the top pause, peak contraction versus gravity. Now finally we're at the top. Now in what occasion do we squeeze and hold there for 1 second, or do we drop the weight back down? Now this depends on the physical movement. Let's say that it's a free weight, and if it's at the top, let's say dumbbell bench press, as we talked, at the top we don't need to wait too much. We can drop straight down, as when we expand, what will happen is that the bone structure is holding the weight, so the muscle is resting, and this is not the goal. The goal is the muscle to be under tension throughout the whole set. So if we are operating with cables or machines like tricep row push down, at the end of that push down we do hard squeeze. Why? Because that's the maximum contraction against the resistance. So if the machine is challenging you on a duo, accept the duo and fight. Now to summarize all that, 2 to 3 seconds down to tear the fiber, pause at the bottom to kill the momentum, squeeze at the top, but only when the machine forces you to do so. Let's stop guessing in the gym. Let's apply the protocol, write the code, and let's build the armor. So that's been it for today's video. Let's evolve, guys. Cheers.